bonus round, secrets. No. Say it again though. Like you said, the ego dying, shedding. Yeah. Say it again.
Yeah, I was basically saying we're coming back on because we were having a conversation outside of the podcast. So we're like, hold on, let's just get this. That choosing the path of spirituality and of being open is a lot more lonely. It's a lot more challenging because you're not really seen, heard, understood. You do get ostracized from, friends, family, certain groups and things. But that's the whole point of spirituality and of being on this path, is that your ego literally dies, your attachments to everything dies, and you are connected to something that's bigger than you, God, Mother Nature, to the elements, as you were speaking of. And that's really what the whole journey is about, is I'm not so attached to this maternal figure, paternal figure, these people in my lives. I'm living in non-attachment and knowing that I'm being held and taken care of by my ancestors, by source, and by things that are just that I can't even comprehend, but it feels safe. And I feel seen, held, loved, supported.
And that was always so hard. I mean, just sharing with people, like, I don't wanna talk about it so that people judge and think like, "Oh, like, you're just complaining about your life," or whatever, but genuinely, when you grow up in the world of spirituality and you let yourself be a part of that, like, I am weird and strange and unusual. I will always be that, and I want to be that. I love magic. I love the other side. I love talking to ghosts. I love the connection I have with crystals. I literally have a giant altar of Isis and Hathor in front of me with my crystals everywhere. I adore magic and the crazy stuff. And to be ostracized by an entire family, even though they all had gifts, even though they were religious and like super aggressive with their beliefs, and thinking like, you were raised to be a part of this lineage. You were raised to take on the name of our family on all sides. Like, why are you not stepping in line? Why aren't you following the path of our bloodline? I don't want to. It doesn't align with my mission to give people a voice, be seen, heard, felt, loved, honored, and valued for who you are on that individual level. And I always felt alone. Even with the best friends that I made, you could go back in time if you were to go stalk me and go back to my past and look at my young self. My best friends were my life. They were my loves. I adored them. I'll never not love those girls. They hurt me. They didn't understand me. They were scared of my mental health issues. They didn't want to be there for the long haul. They left. They were gone. And I was abusive because I leaned into tropes of my trauma and didn't heal and look at myself in the mirror and say, I have a problem. I should probably fix what's going on inside of me, and look at the problems of my entire upbringing and look in the mirror and change who I am, so I stop following these traumas and these ancestral inheritance of abusive for all across the board. That's why I was like, I gotta look into how to help other people, because what if you could stop? And like, everybody's like, I want to go back and fix this. You can't go back. But what if you could stop right now in the present and you're in an argument with family, partner, friends, and you could stop right then and there and say, I'm so sorry. I wish that I could have done that. And I wish that
Mhm.
I had those people. And I will always wish that I had that thought of support. That I could get really emotional right now and cry, and I'm okay with crying, because I really wish that I could have said, "I'm sorry," because it would have stopped that feeling of being alone, and then I could have had that, but maybe they weren't meant to be here, even though I wish they were. Sorry.
For sharing. No, I really appreciate your vulnerability. It's very real and it is painful, and I think it's what makes this human experience so beautiful. You're holding two truths. You're holding the truth of honoring your mission and your path and your sacred work and what you're here for and all of your past lifetimes, while still honoring the fact that you are a human and you crave having a family that loves you and friends that understand you and the very real human basic necessities of living earthbound in this three-dimensional world. And both are true and both can be true. And you're holding those truths. And it's beautiful because there's beauty and there's pain. It's a duality, and it's fucking challenging. I hear you, sister.
And it's crazy, like, I know there's so many people out there that feel alone, like, where maybe you are trying to honor your truth and maybe you are, like, super connected to your gifts and you want somebody so badly to see you and be there that you're looking and you'll conform even though you shouldn't have to. You'll conform just to be seen and loved, even if it's not true and it's not in the highest good. You'll change who you are because you want someone to love you. And I want to show people that you don't have to change. You can be
That's
you, even if it's painful. And you don't deserve to be abandoned or left or not work out with people. You could still be your badass self and ignite your flame, your hearth, your passion, your drive that is your soul, your name, you, that you can show up and be this person that you should be, that you are, that you want people to love and to 100% stand behind no matter what you do. And I just want people to really look at those different parts of yourself that you also need to look in the mirror and like maybe you do have to change some things and heal and go through the shedding of being able to purge the trauma, purge the behaviors, purge maybe you are a narcissist, maybe you are a sociopath, maybe you are traumatized, but you need to heal so that you could be the best version of yourself continually every single day, showing up authentically, integrity, wanting to be better, wanting to be the strongest version of you, wanting to uncover your truth and your magic and your connections to the other side and your higher self. Because I don't think it's okay to accept the bad as far as like do not be that bad person because it's not good to be a bad person at all. You shouldn't be abusive. You shouldn't be applauded for your victim mentality. You shouldn't be applauded for your abuse of other people. But you should see those things as turning points, as lessons, and not condemn yourself and not scold yourself and not abuse yourself and regret what you've done. You should learn from it, love yourself so purely and unconditionally that you can become the best version. But it's like you can't scold yourself and you can't regret it. You have to observe, heal, hold space for it, and know that your path will bring you the people that see you, that value you, that will see you for who you are. Like attracts like. So if you build yourself, your medicine, who you are, you will attract those that will honor your system. Like I didn't have any knowing that you and I would cross paths and I felt so connected to you after we talked. But when we initially had met, I had no intention of anything. I just wanted to respect you in our space of going to the location where we were doing sessions. I wanted to respect that you were there. You were like me. I could feel your energy and that I honored your space. So when we finally did talk, I was like, oh my God, I wish we talked sooner because I felt so connected to you. I was like, we could have been friends already.
yeah, fireworks. Wow. And I think that's the biggest thing too of people who have been, almost abandoned and have been lonely for so long, not only have they gotten used to being hyper independent and to being alone, they almost have this like emotional unavailability. Or when they do get close to somebody, it's like, I'm going to like push this person away. It's the anxious avoidant because like you're like, well, what do I do now? And then you're like, oh my God, I'm just so used to being alone. But I think there is a layer of, self-love, self-trust, and some confidence there of like, I know that I can have people that really do see me and hold me in, my authenticity and who I am at my core. I don't need to perform, put the mask on. There are so many people hiding, performing and putting themselves away. If we were all just more open and authentic and loving and non-judgmental towards one another, could you imagine everyone just relax? Like,
It would be nice.
yeah. And that's, I think, I do see a little bit of a trend in social media where, yeah, you either now see AI and it's like, okay, this person is just kind of pulling from AI and then posting it online, or you see the people who are like, I'm showing up so authentic, take it or leave it. I'm like, wait, I kind of love this because it's like, I don't really see the total middle ground anymore. I don't know about you, but it's cool to even see that kind of changing where people are like, I'm exhausted. Here I am.
I think that's magical in a way. Like, I have a really good friend who ended up doing that with her social stand, and she's grown in such a massive way just by showing up like really raw and purely as herself. I think it's hard when we're trying to navigate a world where all of this new technology is coming in. I think that this is old technology that's been reintroduced, and it is a form of a test for people who are looking to share themselves on another level. And I also think that us being able to connect more and more with each other in every way that we possibly can while trying to find ourselves in navigating this field of victim mentality and AI and abusive overindulgence of media influence. It's such a like a minefield as far as like our spiritual growth can be because we're looking for outlets. We're looking for ways to connect with ourselves, which I think having conversations with people, sharing and understanding your gifts or understanding you on a better level, and then how do I portray what I learn in a way where other people can see me without me being so obsessed with chasing a buck? Because that's the other problem too, is like there are some crazy, outstandingly talented people out there who some of them are just chasing money because they need to survive too, and they can see the growth in this field. I mean, I remember being in Sedona being so taken aback by how much money I was making that I was like, this is out of this world. Like, the people are paying this much and they're calling it entertainment. When you get your license to be a psychic in Sedona, it's under entertainment. And that is insane. Like, to have a business license and, like, have to classify it, they classify it as entertainment.
Should be health and wellness.
Yeah, I know. No, I know. I think some people do pick that route, but legally, it's technically entertainment because you don't have a certification or a degree in it, you know?
We can't technically give medical advice, but we can see it. Yeah.
For
But
all
we
those
know.
medical intuitives out there. I mean, I don't know how much of a medical intuitive I am, but there are some times where, like, if I'm doing Reiki or energy healing, I could pick up on things that I, tell people or channel, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah." And they're like, "Yes, this is what's happening to me." It's like, "Oh, interesting." I can't give you advice about it, but I would suggest getting this looked at.
That's why I'm diving so deep now into I'm in my mysticism school, I'm doing the qigong training, and I'm, like, all in on Chinese medicine now. Like, tell me everything because it's so fascinating just learning about the meridians and, like, how everything, emotions are stored in different organs and what it means and the different foods to eat to help that. It's like, wow, just I have many years to go.
That's cool though, because you could take that to another level, because it is technically a pseudoscience in description, but it's ancient medicine that's worked for thousands and thousands of years. So it'll be interesting to take it, incorporate it into your craft.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what really created House of Antonia is let's go back to the ancient knowledge. Let's go back to what they knew, the Egyptians, the Atlanteans, the Lemurians, like let's go back to that. They knew they knew everything. We're just learning. So, I think it's really powerful to start studying and understanding ancient knowledge and obviously like the elements like you were saying and connecting to Gaia because that really is where the healing is and where all the answers are.
When creating the book, I wanted to write a lot of this stuff down so you could have options to research different arenas. Because if you didn't know that Chinese medicine existed, it's in the book. So you could be like, oh, there's herbal medicine, and that can actually help me physically, so on and so forth. I think that that's really cool to be able to dive into these different modalities and metaphysical and ancient tools that we've used since we could remember.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're constantly being communicated with, the stars, the planets, even the ocean. It's just we need to slow down and be still enough to receive it and be open to it and not be so caught up in the fast paced, crazy, chaotic, everything outside of us kind of infiltrating our system.
I was thinking a lot about what we were talking about with the family stuff too, and like wanting to be seen by others. And my biggest wish was always to find other forms of expression that I could still stand behind and very much enjoy, while also honoring the family and creating legacy in some way. And I do wanna tell people that they absolutely do not have to try to prove anything to anybody. I always wanted to prove something. I wanted to prove that I was good enough, so I did all these things. I have so many modalities under my belt to try to prove that I'm worth something, especially to my dad's dad. That was my wish, because he was very hard on me. He was there since the beginning trying to mold me into his little person, like the little version of him, and he tried it with my dad and it didn't work. He tried it with my aunt and he got it to be a certain way, but it wasn't enough for him. So when he got to me, he tried to make me into an image of him. And I always felt like I wanted to prove something because I could never be that. He's a businessman. He's all about money. I'm nothing to do with that. I was spiritual and weird. So for all of those out there that want to prove something to the people around them, why don't you just prove it to you and like do the things that you can do that make you feel so just liberated and expanded in a way where you're showing up for you so purely. I mean, that's why I do this. That's why we're talking. That's why she and I are on this episode and communicating, because I know that I have things to say and I don't care if they sound freaking weird and crazy and out there. I know that there's something to it. I don't know what it is. I don't know why that we're psychic and all this stuff. I don't know how to prove that it works, but every single day that I tap into it and I lean into these unusual things, they keep coming back as true. I work in the bar industry when I'm not working in my beautiful metaphysical world. And even last night with my coworker, I basically made this proclamation where I will not be drinking anymore ever again. And then on top of that, I
No?
yeah, for real. I haven't drank at all since January 1st.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm gonna
You're
try to keep
sober for life?
I hope so. I don't know. We'll see. But for now, it's great. I feel clear as shit, but since I've been sober, like, my gifts have been on steroids. Like, I can't even tell you how crazy out there the gifts have been. And my coworker was having this experience, so she didn't have to tell me anything. I literally just started telling her that I was feeling this from her, and she just looked at me like, "How are you feeling this right now? How do you know this right now?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know how I do. I don't know your thing. We're not close. I don't know much about you, but I can feel when someone's around me and like I'm supposed to say something. Like she's like, I really needed that, or like, thanks for connecting with me. You know, it's like it's not on purpose. And maybe it
Mhm.
is from the other side, but for me, it's just it's so massive. I don't know how to explain it. It just is
You
this
don't have to. Yeah, it's letting yourself just have the experience and not trying to overthink it and not trying to have the answer to everything. I think that's what the magic is. And if you do need answers and you do need things and you haven't quite experienced your own esoteric phenomenon in your own life, like a good place to start is looking into near-death experiences. There's countless. There's books on near-death experiences, and it's like you can read over and over and over and over the same pretty much the same thing of proof of the other side and proof of something that's bigger than us. But I think sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is not be so wrapped up in the why and the how and all of these things and just let yourself actually you owe it to your lineage, you owe it to the powers at will, and you let yourself just be superhuman in this three-dimensional dense world. And then you just kind of surrender to what's going to flow in, flow out, and how you're going to support people and how you're going to be of service. And I think that's really the beauty of it, is not putting so much pressure on ourselves all of the time and these expectations of how you need to show up and how you need to be. Just knowing it's okay to fail. That's why we're here. Getting back up and having faith and like trying again and trying again. And yeah, just getting really flowy with it and taking risks and being a little uncomfortable. Like that's that's what it's all about. And it's like, okay, you're doing sobriety. Maybe you do drink one night. Great. Okay. Then you can go and choose to be sober again, for however long. If you change your mind, okay, cool. Like you can't possibly fuck up your life bad enough for anything bad to happen. If it's so bad and if you don't achieve the things that you think you're set out to achieve, you're going to reincarnate again. You're just going to come back and it's going to be fine. You have another life to try again. It's like we need to stop taking things so seriously all the time.
interesting. I love hearing you talk.
Like, gonna get me started.
But I do. I appreciate you. You're just so interesting to talk to. It was cool to connect.
I'm so grateful to be connected to you.
Was there anything else that you're curious about?
Oh, 100 things, yeah, but you and I will just have to do, like, a part 2.
You know,
Do you
we
do, podcasts on your spirituality?
I do. Yeah. I'll interview you now.
Oh, boy.
That'd be so fun.
I wouldn't know what I would talk about. I would start going on little rants.
Well, we could if you wanted to.
I'd be down. I'm in a very much, like, saying yes, phase of my life at the moment, and I was just sober for 4 months, and I just had my first drink on Thursday, and I'm
Nice.
like, "How do I feel about this?" You know?
Mhm.
Um, it's interesting because it does lower your vibration so much. You're like, "Is this really worth it?" But then I'm in this phase of like, "Well, I wanna be so human too." It's like there's balance, and I was too far on this spectrum. Now I'm over here, so it's like, yeah.
It's interesting, like, the gauges too, because I remember when I was younger, my friends, the part of the chastising started because I had started to experiment with drinking, and I remember the falling out had to do with that, where I had went out with a friend for her birthday, and I had one drink with her, and I got home, and my best friend flipped out on me. She was very upset, and she said that I was ruining my vibration, and I was ruining my spirit, and I was disconnecting to spirituality and all this stuff. I don't know. She was very upset, and I remember how it made me feel, like, I felt like I wasn't good enough, and then I was like, "Oh, well, maybe because I'm not human, I shouldn't be doing this," or I don't know, it brought this strange, like, disciplining of self, you know? And
Yeah.
I always had, like, this super traumatic experience anyway with substances, whether it was alcohol or whatever around me growing up. Like, my family had been in that role, like, that was something that they all partake in, and my father in particular was an alcoholic, so it was incredibly traumatic to have alcohol near or even smell it for the longest time. Then I went through the phase of drinking a lot to the point where I was like, "If this kills me, I wouldn't be sad." And then I was like, "Oh, just kidding. I should probably help people and do that whole thing." You know, there was just so many waves that I've gone through with this experience of trying to further understand the connection to some of these traumas that we have and, like, navigating those experiences.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I feel like it is like a trial and error at that point. You're like, let me see what works for me and kind of block out the noise of what everyone else is telling me or how they're making me feel, like what is resonant for me specifically in this experience. And it'll be different for every single person, but it's like you know what's going to be best for you and like what you're choosing right now. You're choosing it for a reason, so follow it, do it, and know it's okay to change your mind at any given time. You're not pigeonholed into anything, but
I
your
agree.
body's wanting it for now. So like go all in. Do it, girl.
I love that. It's cool because it's like, you can feel what's resonating too, which I think is important when you're navigating everything. Especially, like, I know people who are more in the food spectrum of, like, trauma where they either binge eat or they are
Yeah.
the not eaters, right? And I think that everything that we're kind of trying to figure out in this physical form is how we can navigate physical experiences when some of us are very ethereal or spiritual and unable to understand, like, what the physical has to offer, because this experience, the sex and the food and the touch and the feel and the hugs and the being able to drink and to be crazy with physical, like, changing our bodies from being super overweight to super freaking thin or fit, or the ability to have that navigation of physical experience is so crazy and out there for people who are very resonant with being in a world where we're not physical. I know that I really feel that too. I sometimes I don't like the physical experience, but God, I love food. Like, having the taste of food and being able to eat cheese is one of my favorite things in the world, that I'm just like, how could you not eat cheese? And I know some people don't like cheese, but just how could you not
Like
eat
this.
this thing that you love to taste? Yeah, and just be like, "Oh my god, like, this is what living's all about, is eating this cheese right now," you know?
Yes, because I literally I when I had COVID, one of the times I couldn't taste anything, and I was like, "What's the point of living if I can't taste food?" Like, you don't realize how much, like, dopamine and pleasure and joy comes from food and nostalgia and emotions. I'm a big foodie, so I'm literally like, "Wait, this is happiness." If I'm sad and I want, pasta, I want comfort food, or I want chocolate or, like, warm cookies, like, there's so much pleasure in that, it's nuts.
That's kind of cool. I think that's the physical experience, definitely, is being able to enjoy the physical, what it has to offer, like having hair and having clothes
There
and nails and jewelry. Like, when you're in a different plane of space, this stuff doesn't exist. So it's interesting to have it here.
It is. It is. That's kind of interesting because obviously your vibration's so high in the other realms that it's like banana, and like a banana can show up or whatever because you're like so in the 5D. But here it's like I feel like we're so low vibrational, like being in the 3D, that those are the things that are continuously giving us hope and keeping us like grounded. It's like, okay, we'll give you this stuff
I
to
definitely
keep you.
catch myself attaching to physical things, you know? Like, I have a teddy bear and a blanket that I've had since childhood, that I love and adore more than I could express. I have this peace I've had since I was in high school that I just love and adore. It's hard because, you know, when you if you go into the Buddhist mindset, detachment is huge. And that was something I remember following for a very long time, was practicing detachment. But I was always attached to my teddy and my blanket, that I still felt guilty about that. And then obviously substance of any form, eating a lot, drinking, whatever, it doesn't matter what the thing is, being buying a lot of clothes, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Uh Having a bunch of tech. I have so much tech in my house. You learn that you're navigating this reality through whatever it is the experience is. And I think experience as a word is such a key word to human, because we're here on the planet to play into whatever role that we desire to not only play into, but also things that we plan to transmute. I think it's all about transmuting, whether it's the past or the future, transmuting it for the better and growing. And that's why I think that the igniting your inner flame, it's like you're taking that flame and making it stronger and building it. Like that's my mantra, is like taking all of your essence and making it bigger, better, stronger, something more developed, expanded upon, transmuted. I think that that's the whole reason that I believe so much in the spiritual realms and how we can develop in every area, because it's very freeing when you get to allow yourself to experience, because you're experiencing this right now. It's not going to be this way forever.
Yeah, and when we do that work on ourselves, we're innately also raising the collective consciousness. So we're actually doing the work of the collective by really going inward and transmuting all of that. So it's beautiful.
Again,
You're amazing.
you're amazing.